It needs more to meet the increasing demand from residents. Joining us to discuss is Florida State Representative Daniel Perez. Daniel, great to see you here. How do you respond to the White House's criticism that your state has mishandled the vaccine rollout, saying you've only distributed half of the amount you've been given?
Yeah, well, it's good to see you guys again, and thank you for inviting me as always. But the White House's position is preposterous. It's humorous, to be honest. We're the #1 state amongst the top 10 most populous states in the country to vaccine our population. And when they're saying that we're only giving away half of what we have in stock, well, yeah, that's accurate, because there's a second dose to complete the vaccine in its totality. And we are not going to be taking away our elderly population's second dose of the vaccine in order to give them to new members or new residents of the state of Florida for their first vaccine. That's just setting up the state and its residents for a disaster. The White House just doesn't understand how the process truly works. I think they're lost.
So you're waiting again, as we know, Pfizer and Moderna, you need 2 doses of the vaccine. There's some time separated between when you can receive the first and second dose. So you're holding on to that for your elderly population. We know there are some more mature residents living in the state of Florida, but there's also been some reports that people from other states are coming into Florida just so they can get a hold of the vaccine. Maybe their own state governor had not adequately prepared for vaccine distribution. But how are you sort of prioritizing those travelers, those visitors? Where would they fall into the vaccine distribution?
Yeah, and here, I can give you a perfect example. I represent Miami in the Florida House. And in Miami, what we're doing is we're asking for a license to make sure a proof of residency and actually the ability of this person to show us that they're living within the city of Miami, for example. But our priority is to make sure that the residents of Florida receive the vaccine. That was the whole purpose of the vaccine being sent to Florida. Other states are receiving their vaccines as well. And I would encourage those that live in other states that haven't been able to do so, that are thinking about coming to Florida, to contact their state government. Luckily for us, we have a fine governor in Governor DeSantis, and we've done an absolutely phenomenal job in making sure that we give the vaccines to those that want it. Look, we just got the other day, it was and I don't know if you were able to see it, but our 1 millionth elderly person was able to receive their vaccine. That's #1 in the country. We focus on our elderly population.
All right. I want to talk to you, though, about some somewhat surprising remarks made by the new CDC director addressing the nation's vaccine supply issues. Listen to what was said.
The biggest problems right now is I can't tell you how much vaccine we have. And if I can't tell it to you, then I can't tell it to the governors, and I can't tell it to the state health officials. If they don't know how much vaccine they're getting, not just this week, but next week and the week after, they can't plan.
That statement is surprising to many. Daniel, how could the government not know how many vaccines are available?
That's a scary clip to see, to be very honest. I mean, we didn't have these problems under President Trump, and I'm hoping that President Biden can get it together and make sure that the CDC is aware of what infrastructure and supplies they have for the vaccine. It's true. Here in the state of Florida, we've just stopped receiving vaccines overnight, and we're not sure exactly why that is to take place. And the governor has been adamant to make sure that we continue to receive that supply. But the CDC now has kind of gone up in the abyss and now said, well, I don't know exactly how many vaccines we have or how many we are going to have. The planning is actually very poorly. And us here on the state level, we rely on them to a certain extent when it comes to supplies. So what we would ask is that they kind of figure out sooner rather than later what their supply is so that we can tell our own residents. I mean, the phones are off the hook down here. People want to receive the vaccines.
Right, but you're saying your communication with CDC officials has halted. Is that correct?
What has halted is the accountability of the supplies that's being sent to Florida. We were told that we were going to be receiving X amount of vaccines. We supply probably in the state of Florida about 300,000 a week. And all of a sudden that has gone down. Well, logistically, that's tough. When we've been planning on this supplies to come to the state of Florida for several weeks, well, all of a sudden, those are just not showing up, or they're showing up in half doses. So instead of 300,000 a week, sometimes we're receiving 100,000 or 150. And we just can't plan like that. And we have to be able to hold each other accountable. But when they're telling us they don't know what their supplies is, well, we can't do our job. And we need the CDC to be held accountable.
Yeah, just so you can communicate that clearly with people who want to be vaccinated. Want to ask you really quick, learning that the Florida Chief Financial Officer, Jimmy Patronis, is potentially asking for the Olympics to be relocated to Florida. The 2021 Olympics, they're set to be in Tokyo, Japan. Officials there had kind of gone back and forth as to whether they'd be hosting. I think they've said that, yes, they will indeed host in Japan. But is Florida really ready to host the Olympics if they're offered to do so?
We would love to have the Olympics in Florida, without a doubt. And look, I think we are capable. I think we have the unique ability to have a city like Miami. We also have Orlando in Central Florida, and the Panhandle is one of the most beautiful areas of the entire country. I think we do have the infrastructure for it, although we'd have to obviously build on it a bit before it actually came here to Florida. But more importantly, we're such a free market, less regulation state that is ran that way from the top to the bottom, that the Olympics coming to the state of Florida wouldn't have many hurdles in comparison to other states. So we would love to have them here. I can tell you, I would welcome them in Miami with open arms.
All right. Well, you've got the Super Bowl, first of all, in Tampa. So we've got that to look forward to. A lot going on
That's
in
exactly
the state
right.
of Florida. Daniel Perez joining us live here on the program. Always great to see you. Thanks so much.
Likewise.
Meanwhile, there's growing concerns on Capitol Hill among